right, everyone. It is hard to believe, but we have made it through 7 sessions. We're almost done with the first day of the summit. Thank you for being here. And if this is your first session, welcome. Let me know what you are learning or what you would like to learn and what questions you still have in the chat. Welcome to the Impact Stage. My name is Kelsey, and I am very excited to be here with you and excited to introduce our next speaker. So I have Alonda WIliams waiting in the wings to join us. Alonda is the president and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Puget Sound, where she is redefining mentoring to empower youth and communities. Alonda is a visionary leader and former technology executive at Microsoft, Verizon, and Qualcomm. She brings innovation, equity, and collaborative style to transform nonprofits and unlock potential in young people. Alonda is a TEDx speaker and a best-selling author. Alonda inspires audiences on leadership, mentorship, and leveraging technology for impact. And through her publishing company, she uplifts diverse voices, in children's literature to foster confidence and representation. So I'm very excited to have Alonda here with us to lead our next session, Supercharged Leadership, How to Embrace AI and Lead What's Next. Alonda, I will kick it over to you.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. Can you guys see me okay? Just want to make sure you can see me. Okay, great. I'm looking forward to this. I'm really excited to share with you all today. This session is really about how to embrace AI. It's really for leaders, but it's also for really anyone who is interested in sort of directing and helping helping other people learn about AI, but I will focus on some tips specifically for leaders. So what you can get today, we don't have a lot of time, but we're going to have a great time. And in the next 25 minutes, you're going to have exactly what you need to lead with courage in the age of AI, to sort of understand the role your board plays, how to make sure that you're leading your staff. I'm going to give you some tips, some frameworks that help you lead with courage instead of fear. And I'll give you also some resources with some tools and tips that you can start using before the end of the day. But first, let's get started with understanding kind of where you guys are. I have a quick poll that I want to just see if you can complete, so you can see who's in the room and get a sense for your relationship and experience with AI. So let's do that. Let's see what's happening here. And this is really about just based on the number of, I sort of did it in terms of the number of prompts that you've created. Let's see where everyone is. All right. Oh, look at this. This is great. All right, good. So it looks like most people are explorers. They use it now and then. We have some people who are super users, which is great. Some people who are just brand new, and that's wonderful. We've had it looks like there's a good mix of people in the room, and I love that. So continue to put that in. That just helps me understand where you guys are. And we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so this, as I said, this session is really about how to really embrace AI. So first, let's talk a little bit about why I think this is especially important for nonprofits. So first of all, you know, AI levels the playing field. When you think about the tools and the technology that nonprofits typically have, in many cases, we have the lower feature, not the feature-rich version of tools, but AI gives everybody the same grade of tools that Fortune 500 use, but at a fraction of the cost. We don't have to get expensive consultants to analyze data or agencies to create campaigns. A lot of it we can do ourselves. The second big benefit is scale and efficiency. You can create content at scale. If you have a small team, you can use AI to help you create a lot of content. It can help you analyze data. It can automate some administrative tools that you would normally do over time. It can help you with grant writing, all sorts of things that it can do. But most importantly, is it allows you to innovate without the huge budgets, and it allows you to really focus on your mission. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is how I've been able to save some time. Also, I'm going to give you some tips on how you can save time. But most importantly, it's really ultimately about how to scale our mission. So at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Puget Sound, this is not just theory. We're doing this every day. So let me tell you a little bit about what we're doing. When I say, it levels the playing field, in our world, we have had staff members who've been able to create agents, and we're using them, and it's helping. We're also using automation to help us speed up processes that would normally take staff, hours, and now we're using automation to help. And the other really exciting piece, there's a whole video on this, and I can put the link in there in the chat, but we have had success with using AI to create an AI match recommendation engine that actually helps us match kids faster using AI. We started building it 2 years ago, and we're using it. Our staff is finding every day all sorts of benefits from this tool. It doesn't do the work for our staff, but what it does is take away some of the administrative work, and surfaces to them what matches would make sense. Now, Big Brothers Big Sisters, we match young people with adults, and sometimes that can be a very complicated process. So this tool is one of the things that we have found that has been a great implementation of AI, but really focused on supporting our mission. And that's what I would say as you think about these tools today and the conversations that you'll have. Center your mission. Center your mission with your board. Center your mission with your staff, because then it takes it away from novelty and really focuses on allowing you to improve your mission. So how do you do this as a leader? There's a couple of things that I would say your staff are looking for from you. One, permission and protection. You need to make sure you're giving them access. So in our world, we give all of our staff access to the tools. We give our leaders and many of our staff members access to the paid versions of Copilot, and some people are using ChatGPT, but the paid version is really important. If you want to make sure that your staff are leaning into it, you got to support them by giving them access. Model the behavior. I show my staff what prompts I'm using. I show them how I use it. I've had lunch and learns. We brought in trainers from Microsoft to talk about skilling and how to take advantage of Copilot. I model the behavior by being a tech-forward CEO. That gives them access to play around. We also create space for them to share with each other. And then finally, we have guardrails that we tell them about how they are to use it and not to use it. But as a leader, that is your role, by making sure you provide exactly the guardrails, the access, and the permission around how to use it. If they see you leaning in, they'll know that it is okay to lean in. So it's not about having all the answers. It's about creating space where your team feels safe to explore and learn. I also give an award to our staff. I call it Making Us Better. And it's an award that is actually cash. It's $100 cash. Anyone who creates something or uses technology to improve efficiency and their coworkers have used it and it works, they will get an award. We limit it per quarter, but it is 3 per quarter, and it has been really exciting to see what they build. Now, board. It's really important to make sure that you have a tech-forward board. So, just as you would recruit for legal or finance, make sure you're recruiting, tech-forward boards. That is one of the board members are really key to championing innovation, to making sure that they're probing and asking the right questions on your governance, and making sure you're focused on the mission, and they can open doors to partnership. That is really one of the main reasons that we were able to get the AI match recommendation done. Started on it years ago, but it's done because I had a tech-forward board member who partnered to really help it make sense. Now, I'm going to share with you what I've learned. I consider myself an early adopter. I started using, ChatGPT back in December of 2022. I read an article about it, and I said, let me go see. It's publicly available. Let me go try it out. I think I've created over 5,000 prompts. I mean, it's a crazy thing, but I really kick the tires to try to really understand it. I thought it was going to go away in the beginning because I couldn't believe that it could do what it could do. And I've done lots of talks with Microsoft and other folks, both in my organization as well as outside, to just share some things that I've learned. And so here's what I've learned. Go deep and not wide. You don't need to know every single tool. Just know a few and go deep. Go really deep on understanding those tools. So I'll tell you a little bit about my tech stack, but I don't want you to get overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, there's so many tools. There's only really a few that you need. And you'll find that if you go deep with those, you push the boundaries. And then when you find that you can't do what you want to do, then okay, you can go to something else. But for the most part, you will find that be simple, but smart in how you use it. So this is another thing I've learned. I have done lots of prompting, and I know some folks are, for those of you who are playing around or just starting out, I'm just going to share with you, and this will be in the chat as well, or in the resources, but this is my framework that I use, and I think this is helpful in getting really perfect results. I call it the crown just because, it sounded cute, but I also have ChatGPT call me queen, so it goes. But context, give the context, make sure you know the role. What is it that you're trying to do? So I have an example there of a basic prompt, which is write a donor letter. If you use the Crown framework, you kind of have the context. We're running a year-end campaign. Role, act as a fundraising strategist. Objective, draft a donor appeal. Who is it targeted to? Mid-level donors. And then the non-negotiables, this to me is really where you get the secret sauce and get the perfected results. What are your non-negotiables? You can say exclude, make sure it excludes M dashes, or have a tone that is folksy if that's your tone, or say, absolutely do speak in the third person because I don't speak in the first person. Whatever your non-negotiables are, make sure you put it in there. So this is an example of the framework, and the prompts that I've given you in the resources, they kind of all follow this format. The other tip I'll give you is Copilot is incredible for internal, if you have Microsoft 365, don't sleep on Copilot. It is absolutely worth the ROI. I'll give you some examples here. If I'm busy and I'm working and I come back to my desk after being in meetings all day, I can just go, what have I missed? And it'll go through my Teams chats, my emails, to see what things I've missed and what I need to pay attention to. I can also have it look at, and this is a real prompt, if you're in leadership, you can say, look in my emails, calendar, emails, calendar, and Teams messages from the last 30 days, and summarize the top 10 things I need to update my board, that I need to include in my board update. That prompt alone saves me a good 3 hours, because I would normally spend that time going through, okay, what did I do? I'll write notes as the month goes on, but this is a really great way to kickstart that work. You can create an agent. I have an agent that I use that helps me do my monthly staff updates. I keep the content pretty consistent, but I can change out what the topics are each month, but the categories are pretty consistent. And as I said, I'll share a little bit more with you in just a second. Now, what do I use? This is a day in my life, and this is my tech stack. It's pretty simple. And it's these three things. I use ChatGPT for lots of things, but storytelling. It has memory. I do role playing with ChatGPT in my car, and I'll walk you through a day in my life, but I use ChatGPT probably the most for really interesting uses. Like I said, role playing a difficult conversation with a donor. I use it for, because it has memory, it remembers things that I've told it before and can pull those things forward. Copilot, every day I use Copilot. It can pull together everything that's in your cloud. So an Excel document, a PowerPoint, a Word document. It can look through all of those and create new documents, give you analyses. It's really fantastic. And then the third is Assembly. There are a lot of these tools now, but Assembly goes to meetings when I can't. It summarizes action steps, and I find it to be really helpful. There are other tools that are also out there now, but I started using Simbly very, very early in, I think, 2023, and I just haven't changed. But there's Otter and there's some other ones. But for me, this is my tech stack primarily. There are a couple of other little things I use, but this gets it done. How do I use it? Here's a day in my life. Okay, so let's say I'm getting in and I want to do a message to my staff. So how do I do that? Well, I input that into Copilot. I'll use my agent in Copilot, and it will, and this is what I use to, I put 3 topics in Copilot with my agent to create my monthly staff update. Boom, it's done. I'll just need to take a look at it, make some edits, but I don't have to create it from scratch. Second, let's say I'm double booked for a meeting. I'll use Simbly to go to one meeting in my place, and then I'll go to another meeting. And if it's an internal meeting, Copilot can transcribe the notes, create action steps right at the end of it. So that saves me time, something that I don't have to do. I can send it out right after the meeting. Even folks who are inside, they can see right in Teams what the action steps were. But if it's an external meeting, I just copy, paste, send it to an email, boom, they have the output of that meeting. Prep for the board meeting. I already told you that I use Copilot to create a dashboard in Excel, and I can say, create a dashboard in Excel based on our annual goals. Now, the annual goals are in a PowerPoint that's in SharePoint or in my OneDrive. I haven't opened Excel. I'll ask Copilot to do that. You'd be amazed at the magic it creates. It can create, I don't have to open the documents. It can go look, gather all the information, and serve up to me something that is super, super helpful. Let's say in the afternoon, I have a legislator meeting, and we're going to talk about the fentanyl crisis in our state. Well, I can use ChatGPT and Copilot actually to research stats, look at what bills this legislator has passed or proposed in the past, what are their positions on various crises in the state, and it can brainstorm potential actions for me. That, again, time saver. That is something that I would have either had a staff member do or it would have taken me time. Let's say I'm having a difficult donor conversation and I'm driving to meet them for lunch. Well, I can use ChatGPT in the car to role play this difficult conversation. I'll have ChatGPT take on the role of the donor. I can rehearse responses. I can rehearse responses to the donor's objections. In the car, on my way to the meeting, ChatGPT can give me feedback on how that was based on something that, based on that conversation. And it's a really, really helpful tool to get ready for something like maybe a difficult donor meeting. And then finally, let's say I'm going home and I'm going to meet with my landscaper right after work for a backyard project. Well, I can take the photo of my current, not really very exciting backyard and upload it into ChatGPT and say, please reimagine this backyard in 3 different designs based on my budget of $5,000, so that when my landscaper gets there, I'll say, hey, here's some ideas. I've already thought this through. Here's what I'd like to do. And then that meeting goes a lot better because I've already gotten some great ideas about how to make it work. Now, this is, again, a day in my life using the 3 tools that I talked about. On average, I would say I save a good 10 hours a week, sometimes even more. I recently had to hire someone, and my HR director was out of the office. So, normally I would have a screening team and they would screen some of the candidates and then bring back to me the finalists. Well, I had a rubric created in Copilot, and I uploaded all the resumes and had it score every single resume based on the rubric, based on the job description. And then the top people I was able to then send to the interview team. They interviewed the candidates based on the rubric, came back, and surprisingly, the top choices, we ended up hiring one of the top 2 choices from that initial screening that was done in Copilot. So that alone also saved hours of work because, again, you didn't have to go that initial screening, not the interview final screening, but the initial screening based on a rubric, just like that. And that's something that generally, enterprise organizations might have a tool that does that, but in a nonprofit that doesn't have a lot of resources, that was completely clutch and incredibly useful. So next, I'll just say, I know we started a few minutes late, so Kelsey, you can let me know how we're doing on time, but these are some things I would say for you to do. Number one is give your team access, guardrails, and guidance. Model the behavior that you want. Try some new tools, try some new use cases. Really kick the tires, try everything. Stay with those simple tools, but try all of the things you can do. Try voice, try images, try uploading data, try uploading a spreadsheet and ask it to analyze it for you. Really, really try to push the boundaries of what you think is possible. Prompting, really perfect your prompting because it'll help you get really great results. And then create this culture of courage for your team, for your board, by really centering on the mission. The goal is to allow your team to do what matters most, which is relationship building or whatever your mission is. Don't get so caught up in what tool to use. Go deep, not wide, and center your mission. That allows you to stay innovative by focusing on what's most important. And then finally, I have some tools for you. I have 25 ChatGPT prompts for nonprofits, 25 Copilot prompts, and then the tool stack that I like to use. You can use this QR code to get access to them. I also put them in the resources section, so you might be able to just download them there. I will also go over to the lounge. So if there are folks here who want to ask some questions or just go there and chit chat for a little bit, I'm happy to do that. I'll look in the chat to see if there are some questions.
Hi, Alonda.
Hi.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. The image of you, the day in the life of the CEO, was amazing. I screenshot that, and I think it's so brilliant. You have a couple questions, and I think we have just like a minute or two more. One is, do you use Copilot to help with time management as well? So are you using that for any time management hacks?
Oh my gosh, I use Copilot for time management because again, I don't have to search through my email to see what's important. I just go right to that. I think I'll put my whole presentation in the resources as well, but there's in Copilot, you could just say, catch me up on what I missed, and it saves so much time. So absolutely.
Love it. There was a similar question. Does your prospect management or research team use Copilot?
Well, we don't have a prospect management team nor a research team, but the people that do those jobs, yes, we're very, very, we embrace AI in this organization. So yes, Copilot and ChatGPT, yes.
Love it, love it. Okay, there is a lot of love and some quoting of your presentation in the chat. So I encourage you to check that out. And thank you so much. It looks like all of your resources have been shared as well. So everyone make sure you check out those resources. And Alonda, thank you so much for your time. If you want to give Alonda some love and some feedback, please fill out the feedback form. I believe we have that up on the screen for you. Please share that so that we can share it with Alonda and also improve the summit in the future. We also want to make sure you join, if you would like, join Alonda for her lounge session, leading what's next with AI. You can join Alonda for that. You should be able to see that up on my screen. That is the information. So if you're curious on how to join that lounge, this is a little bit of a video for how to navigate to that. From the reception area, you'll see lounge in the top navigation. You can select that and then find the table with that lounge session title, Q&A, leading what's next with AI. And you can go on camera, go off mute, have a conversation with Alonda, ask your questions. And thank you so much, Alonda. I hope you have a good group joining you for that. All right, so we are almost done with this first day, which is absolutely insane. Here is what is coming up next. On the Amplify stage, we have Human First Fundraising with custom GPTs and agentic AI workflows with Rhea Wong. That is available for a CFRE credit. On the innovation stage, we have Accessible by Design, how AI can advance equity for people with disabilities. Really encourage you to join that, followed by a session on privacy. And then on the impact stage, we have 2 sessions back to back. I will be in that room, so you can join me and all of these fantastic folks on the screen here. Would love to see you in any of those rooms, but especially the impact room. And just another plug, it's, as I mentioned, it's coming up to the end of our first day, so you can really start building out your schedule for tomorrow. Your needs might have changed because you heard an amazing session and you don't need to really listen to that one session. You want to check something else out. Go in, build your schedule, and join us tomorrow. Make sure you do that. And I hope I see you on the impact stage very soon.